Hello and welcome to the latest Connected Intelligence Spotlight. And in this episode, I want to look at the prepaid mobile market because I suspect it's heading towards a significant upheaval after years of relative stability. Sure, we've seen pricing adapt to the times a little, but the fundamental structure of prepaid has remained a bifurcated option of either prepaid re-up cards or unlimited plans. Prepaid activations have slowed, not just during the pandemic, but over the past few years and seem to have reached a plateau, especially when we consider the big three carriers. The challenge, I believe, is that prepaid to a large extent began to focus on competing directly against postpaid rather than creating its own market area. Rather than a pay-as-you-go mentality, the market morphed into more of an unlimited offering such as Visible, Metro and Cricket, which are awfully similar to the postpaid options. To an extent, that made sense when Metro and Cricket were independent businesses looking to compete with the big four carriers. But Metro and Cricket are now, and have been for a long time, a brand within these larger carriers, and competing almost head-to-head with the parent brand really doesn't make as much sense. With TracFone now poised to become part of Verizon next year, we could see even more focus on postpaid-like plans from that new entity too. Now, to be fair, there are still pay-as-you-go options, but to a great extent these have remained very much the same over the past 10 or so years. This means that the prepaid market is ripe for innovation in 2021, and that may not necessarily come from the incumbent carriers. First, let's consider Boost, which is now owned by Dish. A new owner, and one that's new to mobile overall, could bring a fresh perspective to the prepaid market. But more interesting is the innovation that could come from Mobile X, the anticipated new mobile prepaid offering from Peter Adderton. Mr. Adderton, for those of you who are not familiar, created the original Boost Mobile, first in Australia and then in the US. More importantly in my mind, he launched Amped Mobile. Now, Amped was a spectacular failure for some pretty mundane reasons, launching in 2005 and lasting just 2 years before it shut down. But the premise behind Amped oozed with innovation. In a time before smartphones, the service focused on content, with original videos such as Little Bush Cartoon, as well as original music recordings packaged into studio sessions recorded at the Amped Mobile Studio. And remember, this was 2005-2006, a whole year or so before the iPhone and downloadable music became common. Of course, it helped that MTV was a significant investor in Amped, and that very fact demonstrates the different thinking behind the venture. It was in many ways ahead of its time, which helps partially explain its demise. But we're not here to talk about Adderton's old ventures, but rather his new one, Mobile X. The details are pretty slim at this point, but there's a suggestion that it'll be an MVNO running across multiple carriers, and it'll offer variable pricing options based on data speeds, quality of service and other factors. As such, this could better address the needs of the core prepaid market if, and it's a big if, the service is not too complex. Now, it's obviously early days, and beyond a flurry of tweets over the past 6 months, not too much is known about Mobile X. But whether it succeeds like Boost Mobile or burns bright, fast and very, very briefly like Amped, will certainly have an impact on the market that is gasping for innovation. And that fact alone should be enough to keep the carriers up at night worrying. That's our spotlight. Thanks for joining.